Everything begins with a vision. Every breakthrough, every empire, every invention, every transformation in human history started in the invisible world of thought. Vision is not a casual dream. It is the blueprint of your destiny. It is the clear picture of what you must become and what you must build, held so powerfully in your mind that it begins to feel more real than the world around you. When you create a vision, you create direction. You give your life meaning beyond the ordinary. Most people wander through life reacting to circumstances, but those who hold a clear vision rise above them. They don't wait for opportunities. They build them piece by piece from the mental image they refuse to let go of. A vision is not something you hope for. It's something you decide upon. It's the internal decision to see what others cannot see and to walk toward it even when no one else understands. It's the commitment to a higher picture of yourself, painted not by current reality, but by faith and imagination. When you have a vision, you stop asking for permission to dream. You stop living small. You stop accepting life as it is and begin shaping it as it could be. Your vision becomes your inner compass, guiding you when the path is dark, uncertain, or lonely. The moment you define your vision, you awaken a force inside you that begins to work quietly and persistently. Ideas start coming to you. People begin appearing who align with your purpose. Circumstances shift in strange, almost mystical ways. That is not coincidence. It is the natural response of a mind that knows where it's going. The universe rearranges itself around a focused soul. But most people never experience this power because their vision is weak, blurred, inconsistent. They change directions too often, letting doubt and distraction blur the image of what they truly desire. A weak vision creates a weak life. A strong vision, held with clarity and emotion, can move mountains. Bruit when you hold your vision. Clearly in your mind, the chaos of life begins to lose its control over you. You stop reacting to every noise and start responding only to what moves you closer to your goal. You begin to live not by sight, but by insight. You begin to see with the eyes of the soul rather than the eyes of fear. The outer world might tell you that your dream is impossible, that the odds are against you, but the inner world whispers, keep going. And that inner whisper becomes stronger than the world's noise. That is the moment you start living from vision instead of circumstance. The world has always belonged to visionaries, to those who held the image of a better tomorrow when others surrendered to the limits of today. They were not smarter, they were not luckier, they were simply more committed to their inner picture than to their outer reality. They understood a universal truth. Whatever you hold in your mind long enough, with enough emotion and belief, will eventually take physical form. The invisible always precedes the visible. The seed always comes before the tree. The thought always comes before the creation. Hebrew.
You were not born to live without vision.
You were born to create one and to give it life. That's what separates existence from purpose. Without a vision, you drift. With a vision, you drive. You move with clarity, conviction, and courage. Your mornings have meaning, your actions have aim, and your struggles have purpose. Vision gives your pain direction. It turns challenges into stepping stones. It transforms doubt into fuel. When you know exactly what you're after, even suffering becomes sacred because you know it's sculpting the strength you'll need to reach it. Decide today to see beyond what you can see. Picture the life you desire so vividly that it begins to burn inside you. Make that vision so clear, so detailed, so emotionally charged that nothing can shake it. Let it live in your heart, not as a fantasy, but as a command. When you move with vision, you know. Longer chase success. Success begins to chase you because vision is not just an image of the future, it's the power that pulls you toward it. And once that power is awakened within you, no obstacle, no failure, no opinion can stop what's already been set in motion. Most people start strong but finish weak. They begin with enthusiasm, but somewhere along the way their fire fades. They set goals, make promises, dream big. Yet the first storm of difficulty washes all of it away. Why does this happen? Because their focus is shallow. They are driven by emotion, not commitment. When the excitement dies, they stop moving. The truth is, staying focused is not about motivation. It's about mastery. Motivation gives you a start, but mastery keeps you in the game when the start no longer feels exciting. The reason most people never see their vision fulfilled is because they get distracted by everything shiny, everything urgent, everything that doesn't matter. They mistake busyness for progress, activity for achievement. But movement without direction is chaos. Focus means filtering the noise of the world and devoting your full energy to the single target that defines your purpose. When your energy is divided, your power is diluted. But when all of it is concentrated on one purpose, you become unstoppable. Distractions are not always obvious. They often come disguised as opportunities. You may think you're growing, but you're actually scattering yourself thin across too many roads. The world will always offer you shortcuts, side paths, and temptations to chase quick success. But every time you turn your attention from your vision, you lose momentum. And in the game of success, momentum is everything. Once you lose it, it takes massive effort to rebuild. That's why the great achievers protect their focus like treasure. They understand that saying yes to every new idea is the fastest way to destroy their progress. Focus is not about doing more, it's about doing less, but doy it with complete devotion. It's about committing to one direction with all your energy, all your emotion, and all your willpower until the vision becomes reality. The world rewards consistency, not intensity. Anyone can be passionate for a week, disciplined for a month, or focused for a season. But very few can stay locked in for years, through boredom, through setbacks, through silence. Success belongs to those who keep showing up long after the excitement is gone. When you lose focus, you lose alignment. When you lose alignment, your purpose begins to fade. You start to question yourself. You start to wonder if maybe you're meant for something smaller. But understand this, your mind cannot build what it cannot stay fixed on. The vision that changes your life requires daily devotion. It demands that you hold your direction steady even when progress feels invisible. The path is not about perfection. It's about persistence. Every day, your mind is being pulled by countless forces: social media, comparison, negativity, other people's expectations. Each one wants to rent space in your mind, to drain your attention, to weaken your focus. But your mind is sacred ground. You must choose who and what is allowed to enter. Every distraction you entertain is a piece of your vision you surrender. Every moment you waste doubting, gossiping, scrolling, or complaining is a moment stolen from your destiny. Protect your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Where your focus goes, your life follows. If you focus on your fears, you'll create more of them. If you focus on your vision, you'll attract the circumstances that bring it alive. So ask yourself, what truly deserves your attention? What is worth giving your life's energy to? When you identify that one thing, that one vision, commit to it as if there is no other option. Become so focused that distraction feels unnatural. Make your dream your obsession, your priority, your discipline, because success is OT reserved for the talented. It's reserved for the focused. The world is full of people with potential, but only a few have the mental discipline to stay locked on their purpose until it's complete. When you focus deeply, consistently, and relentlessly, you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions into one unstoppable force. And in that state, the impossible starts to bend in your favor. Focus is not something you are born with. It is something you build. The mind, by nature, is restless. It jumps from one thought to another, chasing comfort, novelty, and distraction. It craves stimulation because stillness feels like struggle. But true focus demands the opposite. It requires silence, patience, and persistence. It asks you to quiet the noise within so your vision can speak clearly. Most people never train their mind to obey. They let it wander wherever it wants, and then they wonder why life feels scattered. The key is understanding that the mind is a tool, and like any tool, it must be trained to serve your purpose. Focus means directing your mental energy toward one single outcome and refusing to let anything pull it away. When your mind learns obedience, your destiny takes shape. You must understand that focus is a choice. Every time you sit down to work, every time you decide to think about your dream instead of your problems, you are training your mind to follow your command. This is how focus grows, through repetition, through awareness, through discipline. It's like lifting mental weights. The more you redirect your attention to your vision, the stronger your mental muscles become. Every distraction resisted builds focus. Every moment of patience deepens power. And over time, what once felt impossible becomes natural. You no longer need to fight to stay focused. It becomes who you are. The world begins to respect your stillness, your clarity, your intensity. True focus means saying no more than you say yes. You cannot live a focused life and still plea. Say, everyone. You cannot chase 10 goals and expect to master one. Focus requires sacrifice, the sacrifice of comfort, the sacrifice of approval, the sacrifice of ease. It means cutting away the noise until only your purpose remains. Every yes to distraction is a no to your destiny. Every yes to weakness is a no to greatness. You must choose which path you will walk, the wide road of comfort or the narrow road of focus. The narrow road is lonely at first, but it leads to mastery, peace, and power. Because when you focus deeply on one thing long enough, you develop a level of precision that most people never experience. That precision separates the dreamers from the doers, the wishers from the winners. Abe Browie. The psychology of focus is built on awareness. You cannot control what you are unaware of. The moment you catch your mind drifting, the instant you realize your thoughts are slipping into fear or distraction, you have already taken the first step toward mastery. Focus is not about never getting distracted. It's about noticing it quickly and bringing your mind back every single time. The more you practice returning to your purpose, the faster your mind learns that focus is your natural state. Eventually, you stop chasing focus, you become focus. The noise outside no longer controls you because the voice inside has grown louder. The world may pull at you, but your vision pulls harder. This is the secret. Focus is the bridge between thought and manifestation. It is the invisible link that transforms an idea into reality. Whatever you give consistent mental energy to will eventually materialize in your life. When your thoughts are scattered, your results are scattered. But when your thoughts are locked in, life aligns with them. You start seeing signs, opportunities, and patterns that others overlook. It's not luck. It's awareness sharpened by focus. This is the mental alchemy of success, directing every ounce of your mental energy toward the outcome you desire until T becomes inevitable. Focus doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you are. It turns chaos into clarity and dreams into destiny. Doubt is the silent destroyer of dreams. It creeps into the mind when the path grows difficult, when progress slows, when the results don't come as quickly as expected. It whispers questions that weaken your spirit. What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? What if this is all for nothing? And if you entertain those questions long enough, they become beliefs. Doubt is not just an emotion, it's a seed. Once planted, it begins to spread roots deep into your mind, choking the life out of your confidence. The tragedy is that most people never realize doubt is self-created. It is not the world that stops them. It is their own hesitation, their own disbelief in their potential. Every great vision meets the voice of doubt, but only the focused overcome it. Doubt feeds on your attention, and the moment you stop giving it that attention, it begins to starve. You must understand that doubt has only one goal, to disconnect you from your vision. It wants you to trade your focus for fear, your conviction for confusion. When you start believing in your limitations more than your possibilities, you have surrendered your power. The mind will always generate fear because it is wired to protect you, not to grow you. But focus is the force that flips that wiring. When you stay loyal to your vision despite uncertainty, you teach your brain that your dream is non-negotiable. You begin to replace the question, can I do this, with how will I do this? That small shift in thinking transforms paralysis into progress. The energy that once fed your fear now fuels your faith. Every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary has faced the same battle. They heard the same voices of doubt telling them to quit, to lower their standards, to accept mediocrity. The difference was not that they were fearless, it was that they refused to let fear make their decisions. They acted despite the doubt. They used the uncertainty as a sign that they were growing beyond their limits. Doubt means you're moving into new territory. It means you're stretching. The only way to silence it permanently is to take action. Every time you act in the face of doubt, you weaken its hold over your mind. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than the voice trying to hold you back. Action is the antidote to doubt. You must train your mind to replace self-doubt with self-belief, and that begins with awareness. When the voice of doubt speaks, do not argue with it. Acknowledge it, but do not obey it. Shift your focus back to your vision. Remind yourself why you started. Visualize the version of you who has already achieved what you desire. That version of you exists in the unseen, strong, certain, focused. Each time you hold that image, you activate the emotional state of confidence. And when confidence becomes a habit, doubt loses its power. You no longer seek external validation because your vision itself becomes your evidence. You believe not because the world says you can, but because your purpose leaves you no other choice. The truth is, you can never eliminate doubt completely, but you can outgrow it. As you develop discipline, self-trust, and persistence, doubt begins to fade naturally. You realize it was never about the external world. It was always about mastering your internal one. The greatest victories happen not in public, but in the private war within your own mind. When you choose belief over fear, focus over distraction, action over hesitation, you awaken a new level of strength. The vision that once felt distant now feels destined, because once faith becomes stronger than doubt, the impossible starts to bend toward you. And from that moment on, no obstacle can truly defeat you, because the greatest enemy, the one within, has already been conquered. Brewi, the mind is a theater where your future is rehearsed long before it is lived. Every achievement you will ever experience is first built as a mental image, painted vividly in the imagination and nourished by belief. The subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is deeply imagined. That is why mental imagery is one of the most powerful forces in human creation. When you visualize your dream clearly, when you see it, feel it, and live it in your inner world, you are giving your subconscious mind a new reality to work toward. You are planting a seed in the soil of your being. And if you nurture that image daily with emotion and repetition, your mind begins to move your body, your behavior, and even your surroundings to match it. You start attracting people, ideas, and opportunities that align perfectly with what you hold inside. This is not magic, it's science. The subconscious mind operates on impressions. Every image you hold repeatedly with feeling becomes a command to the brain. It starts filtering information, noticing patterns, and seeking evidence to support that image. When you constantly visualize failure, your mind finds proof that you can't succeed. When you constantly visualize success, your mind seeks ways to make it happen. You literally reprogram your internal system for the outcome you expect. That is why vision without mental imagery is incomplete. It's not enough to know what you want. You must see it in your mind until it becomes a part of you. The more detailed and emotionally charged your vision is, the faster it begins to manifest into form. You must take control of the images you allow to occupy your thoughts. The world is constantly feeding you pictures of fear, limitation, and comparison. If you don't consciously choose your own vision, the world will choose one for you. You will live in someone else's story instead of writing your own. This is why daily visualization is not just a technique, it's a discipline. It's the act of reminding yourself every morning and every night of the future you are creating. You close your eyes and see yourself already living the life you desire. Not someday, but now. You feel the emotions of achievement. You experience the confidence, peace, and fulfillment as if it were already real. The mind doesn't know the difference, so it starts building the pathways to make that vision tangible. This practice transforms your energy. When your mind sees your vision as real, your body follows, your posture changes, your tone of voice shifts, your behavior aligns. You begin to act like the person who has already achieved the goal. And because identity always shapes destiny, life begins to mirror the new image you hold. You no longer need to chase success, you become a magnet for it. The more you imagine it, the more natural it feels. And when success feels natural, it becomes inevitable. You've already lived it mentally. Now your only job is to live it physically. But mental imagery is not just about seeing your future. It's about feeling it. Emotion is the glue that makes visualization powerful. A dry picture has no impact, but when you add emotion, excitement, gratitude, certainty, you charge your subconscious with electricity. That emotional charge sends out a signal that draws matching experiences toward you. The stronger your emotional connection to your vision, the faster the world begins to reflect it. You literally attract what you emotionally believe in. That is the true secret behind every person who has ever created something extraordinary. They saw it before it appeared. They believed it before they achieved it. Ibri. So begin today to paint the vision of your future with color and conviction. Close your eyes and see it so vividly that it feels undeniable. Speak it, affirm it, and dwell in it until it becomes the most familiar reality in your mind, because whatever the mind consistently pictures, the body will eventually experience. That is the law of focus and imagination working together. The outer world always follows the inner one. The image you feed will grow, whether it's fear or faith, failure or triumph. Choose your pictures wisely, for when your mind is full of your vision, the world has no choice but to catch up. Persistence is the silent force that turns vision into victory. It is the inner fire that keeps burning when the winds of life try to extinguish it. Everyone begins a journey with passion, but passion fades. Everyone dreams of success, but only a few have the patience to see it through. Persistence is not glamorous. It doesn't shout or sparkle. It works quietly in the dark, in the moments when no one believes, when progress seems invisible, when everything inside you whispers, quit. But that's where greatness is born, in the repetition of effort, in the refusal to give up, in the stubborn decision to keep showing up. When you choose persistence over comfort, you turn adversity into a tool and time into an ally. Ebrew. The truth is, life will test you. It will push against you to see how badly you want what you say you want. Every delay, every obstacle, every disappointment is not punishment. It's proof. Proof that your dream matters enough to demand your strength. The path to achievement is never straight. It bends, breaks, and rebuilds you. You will fail. You will doubt. You will fall to your knees and wonder if it's worth it. And in those moments, persistence is your only weapon. It whispers, stand up again. It reminds you that every master was once a beginner who refused to quit. You must understand, persistence is not just continuing. It is continuing with purpose. It means using every setback as a stepping stone, every rejection as redirection, every fall as fuel. The persistent mind sees differently. It does not measure progress by what it can see, but by what it can feel. Even when nothing seems to be working, it knows something is growing beneath the surface. Every small action compounds. Every moment of effort adds up. Sue. Success is not built in giant leaps. It's built in quiet consistency. The ones who persist are the ones who build momentum. And momentum is unstoppable once it begins. Persistence gives you power because it proves you can endure. It trains your nervous system to survive the storms without losing sight of the vision. When you stay long enough in the fight starts to work in your favor. There will be days when quitting feels easier than trying, when your progress feels invisible and your energy feels drained. In those moments, remind yourself that persistence is not about speed. It's about endurance. The mountain doesn't care how fast you climb. It only rewards those who refuse to stop. Persistence is about outlasting doubt, outworking fatigue, and outliving fear. When everything in you wants to retreat, take one more step. When the results don't come, take one more step. When no one claps for you, take one more step. Because persistence has a compounding effect. Each small effort builds pressure until the breakthrough happens suddenly. The world calls it luck, but you'll know it was persistence all along. Persistence transforms your relationship with failure. It teaches you that failure is not the opposite of success, but the foundation of it. Each setback is feedback. Each disappointment is data. Persistence removes the emotion from failure and turns it into strategy. You stop taking rejection personally. You start using it professionally. This mindset is what separates the temporary from the timeless. When you no longer fear failure, you become unstoppable. The persistent person is not the one who never falls. It's the one who rises faster every time. You can lose money, opportunities, and people. But if you keep your persistence, you will rise again and again, stronger each time. So never mistake rest for quitting. You can pause, you can breathe, but never stop. Is not about intensity, it's about continuity. It is the discipline of returning. Again and again, until the goal bends to your will. The world eventually yields to the one who refuses to go away. Every time you stand up after being knocked down, the universe takes notice. Every act of persistence is a message to life that says, you can test me, but you cannot break me. And when life finally realizes you cannot be broken, it surrenders, and everything you've been working toward begins to unfold. That is the reward of persistence, not just reaching the vision, but becoming the kind of person capable of sustaining it. Distractions are the enemies of greatness. They disguise themselves as small interruptions, harmless moments of rest, or sudden changes in focus, but over time they steal your energy, your clarity, and your momentum. The modern world is designed to fragment your attention. Every sound, every notification, every piece of noise around you is meant to pull your mind away from what truly matters. That's why those who succeed are not necessarily the most talented or the most intelligent. They are the ones who can hold their attention steady when everyone else's mind is scattered. Focus is not something that simply happens. It is something you build one decision at a time. It begins with learning to say no. No to distractions, no to impulses, no to everything that does not align with your vision. The ability to reject what is unnecessary is what allows you to give yourself completely to what is essential. You cannot win the war for your dreams if you keep opening the doors to things that weaken your concentration. There is a simple truth. Every time you get distracted, you are teaching your mind that what you were doing was not important. But every time you bring yourself back to your task, no matter how many times you fall off, you are strengthening your ability to focus. The mind is like a muscle. It grows through resistance. The more you pull it back from distraction, the stronger it becomes. The key is to notice the small BA, TTLEs. When you're tempted to procrastinate, to check something trivial, or to shift your energy toward comfort instead of progress, that is the moment when your future is being decided. The difference between success and mediocrity lies in those invisible moments, the seconds when you either drift or realign. Discipline is the invisible bridge between your vision and its realization. Without it, even the grandest dream remains a wish, but with it, even the most impossible goal becomes inevitable, one small focus session at a time. True focus requires not just mental effort, but emotional alignment. When your vision truly matters to you, when it's not just a goal but a purpose, your attention naturally gravitates toward it. You stop needing constant motivation because the vision itself becomes your energy source. It's not about forcing yourself to concentrate. It's about caring so deeply about what you're building that you can't imagine wasting time on anything else. That's when distractions lose their power. They don't disappear, but they no longer control you. You start seeing them for what they are, thieves of destiny. The more you grow, the more your focus becomes sacred. You begin to guard your time like a treasure. You learn to protect your peace, because peace creates clarity, and clarity leads to results. This is the transformation that separates those who dream from those who achieve, the ability to maintain unwavering focus on what truly matters, regardless of what the world throws at them. Vision without belief is like a fire without fuel. It fades before it ever truly burns. Many people have a vision, but few believe deeply enough in it to withstand the storms that test it. Belief is what keeps the flame alive when the world grows cold. It is not arrogance or blind optimism. It's the quiet certainty that what you see in your mind will one day exist in reality. When you truly believe in your vision, doubt may whisper, but it never wins. You stop asking if and start asking how. You stop needing external validation because your inner conviction becomes louder than the noise around you. This belief is not born overnight. It's forged through repetition, through reaffirming your purpose every single day. You must remind yourself why you started. You must see your vision so vividly that your mind has no choice but to accept it as truth. The more vividly you see it, the more naturally you move toward it. Your subconscious begins to align with your thoughts, shaping your actions, decisions, and habits in its direction. The mind has a strange power. It creates what it believes. When you constantly feed your mind with the image of your success, it begins to attract opportunities, ideas, and people that align with that image. This isn't magic. It's focus in motion. Your thoughts determine your attention, and your attention determines your reality. If you focus on fear, you'll see obstacles. If you focus on faith, you'll see pathways. Every great achievement in history began in the unseen, a thought, a dream, a burning belief that refused to die. What separates those who succeed from those who quit isn't the absence of struggle, but the presence of unwavering belief. Belief turns pain into progress, doubt into drive, and setbacks into signals. Every failure becomes feedback, not finality. And that is how belief transforms your vision from a fragile hope into an unstoppable force. But belief alone is not enough. It must evolve into certainty through evidence. Every small victory, every step forward, every minor achievement builds that certainty. You begin to trust yourself more deeply. You realize that you are capable of far more than you once thought. That trust becomes a shield against fear and an anchor against chaos. It keeps you steady when the world shakes. The more you prove to yourself that progress is possible, the more powerful your belief becomes. This creates momentum, a self-sustaining cycle of faith. A-N-D action. You act because you believe, and you believe because you act. Over time, the two become one. You no longer need to convince yourself that your vision is possible. You simply know. You can feel it. And that quiet knowing, that unshakable inner certainty, is what carries you through every storm until the vision becomes reality. Every vision is tested. There comes a point when everything you've built seems to crumble, when progress slows to a crawl, and when every effort feels pointless. This is the season when most people give up, not because they lack ability, but because they mistake resistance for failure. The truth is, the closer you move toward your vision, the more resistance you will face. That's the nature of growth. Pressure exists to shape you. Challenges exist to prepare you. The universe doesn't test your dream to break it. It tests your commitment to it. When everything seems to go wrong, you are not being punished. You are being refined. The pain is carving out the strength required to hold the success you're chasing. Endurance is not about surviving the storm, but learning to move through it with grace, clarity, and purpose. Every obstacle that stands in your way is an invitation to rise higher, to dig deeper, and to prove to yourself that your vision means more than your comfort. During these moments, you must remind yourself that temporary defeat is not permanent failure. It is feedback, a sign that something within you must evolve. Every dream demands transformation. You cannot achieve something extraordinary while remaining who you were when you started. The struggle is not a detour from your path. It is the path. When everything seems against you, that's when your vision is asking you a question. Do you still want this? How you answer determines everything. If your answer is yes, then every hardship becomes fuel. You start using rejection as redirection. You learn to embrace uncertainty because it means you are STI. LL moving forward. The most powerful version of you is born in those moments when you refuse to quit, when you decide that no amount of failure can make you give up on your vision. Patience becomes your greatest weapon. In a world obsessed with instant results, patience separates the dreamers from the doers. Real success takes time, not because the universe delays it, but because you must grow into the person capable of sustaining it. Every setback is building that version of you. Every delay is shaping your discipline. Every disappointment is strengthening your emotional resilience. The process might be painful, but it is necessary. You cannot rush mastery, and you cannot skip growth. So, when the nights feel endless and progress seems invisible, remember, this is the phase where most people quit. If you endure this part, you separate yourself from the masses. You move from wishing to becoming. And when you finally emerge on the other side, stronger, wiser, and sharper, you will realize that the struggle was never your enemy. It was your preparation. Success demands transformation, not imitation. You cannot hold a powerful vision and live with a weak mindset. The person you are today is not enough to achieve the vision you dream of. That vision exists to evolve you. It forces you to confront your fears, your habits, your excuses, and your patterns of comfort. You cannot take shortcuts to greatness, because every shortcut avoids the lesson that was meant to strengthen you. The path is meant to be hard, not because you are unworthy, but because every challenge is a sculptor, chiseling away the weaker parts of you until only purpose and discipline remain. When you accept this truth, you stop resisting change and begin to embrace it. Growth becomes your normal. The discomfort becomes your teacher. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" Every time you rise from difficulty, you are shedding an older version of you, herself. You are evolving into the person your vision requires you to be. Transformation is not always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. It happens in the small moments when you choose discipline over distraction, patience over frustration, faith over fear. Every time you say no to weakness, you say yes to your higher self. That is how transformation unfolds, through consistent, invisible decisions. You cannot transform by thinking differently for a day. You must think differently every day. The repetition of powerful thoughts rewires your mind. The repetition of powerful habits rewires your future. Change doesn't happen in one breakthrough moment. It happens through thousands of small decisions that compound over time. Each decision moves you closer to or further from your vision. And if you're consistent long enough, one day you'll wake up and realize you've become unrecognizable. Not because life suddenly changed, but because you did. You must understand something deeply. Success is not about achieving your vision. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally creates it. The result is only a reflection of who you've become. That's why transformation is the real goal. You may not see it in the beginning, but every challenge, every delay, and every heartbreak is shaping you into someone capable of carrying greater responsibilities, greater strength, and greater impact. The version of you that started this journey might not survive it, but that's a good thing. You were never meant to stay the same. You were meant to evolve until your character matches your calling. When that alignment happens, success no longer feels forced. It flows. You no longer chase your vision. You embody it. That is the ultimate transformation, when your outer world becomes a mirror of your inner growth and your life itself becomes proof that unwavering focus and self-mastery can turn any vision into reality. The foundation of every great vision is consistency. Dreams don't die, because they're impossible. They die because people stop showing up for them. The truth is simple. Discipline beats motivation every single time. Motivation fades, feelings change, but consistency, that quiet force of repetition, builds momentum that nothing can stop. Every single day you choose to act on your vision, you strengthen it. Each effort compounds. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, something is happening beneath the surface. Growth is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. The ones who win are not those who sprint for a moment. They are the ones who keep walking long after the crowd sits down. Consistency is how you communicate to your vision that you are serious. It's how you tell the universe, "I am ready." Because the universe doesn't reward desire. It rewards discipline. Many people start with excitement but fade with time because they mistake effort for progress. The key is not to move fast, but to move steadily. Slow progress is still progress. Every day you give to your vision, even if it's a small step, is one less day standing still. The danger lies in inconsistency, in those moments when you tell yourself, "I'll do it later." Later becomes never, and once you start breaking promises to yourself, your confidence begins to collapse. Consistency rebuilds that confidence, one fulfilled promise at a time. You must learn to trust yourself again, to keep your word even when no one is watching. That is where self-respect is born. The moment you prove to yourself that you can be counted on, your focus becomes stronger, your energy becomes sharper, and your mind becomes unstoppable. Every vision asks for a price, and the currency is persistence. The most successful people in the world are not the smartest. They are the most consistent. They repeat the fundamentals until they master them. They show up on the days when their energy is low, when their motivation is gone, when the world feels heavy, and that is what separates them. Consistency is not glamorous. It's repetitive. It's boring. But that boredom is where greatness is built. Every day you show up, you are rewriting your story. You are proving that you can be trusted with your dream. Because when you stay consistent long enough, something shifts. What once required effort becomes automatic. What once drained you begins to fuel you. That's the magic of discipline. It turns struggle into rhythm. And once you've built that rhythm, your focus becomes unbreakable, and your vision begins to take shape before your eyes. Doubt will visit you. not once, but many times. It will come quietly, dressed as logic, whispering that maybe your dream is too big, that maybe you're wasting your time, that maybe you should settle for something smaller, safer, easier. But understand this, doubt is not your enemy, it's your test. It appears when you're getting close to a breakthrough. It challenges you to see if your faith is stronger than your fear. Every visionary, every achiever, every creator has walked through this darkness. The difference is that they kept walking. They learned to move even when their minds screamed to stop. You must too, because when you walk through doubt instead of surrendering to it, something powerful happens. Your confidence begins to build itself from within. You no longer depend on external encouragement because you've learned how to push forward through silence, uncertainty, and pain. That is how strength is born, not in comfort, but in confrontation. You cannot silence doubt by arguing with it. You silence it by acting in spite of it. Doubt thrives in inaction. The longer you wait, the louder it grows. The moment you move, it begins to lose power. Each action you take is a vote for your vision. Every time you push forward, no matter how small the step, you send a message to your subconscious, I am not giving up. That message rewires your mind. It replaces hesitation with habit, fear with familiarity, uncertainty with belay. Action is the antidote to doubt. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to keep moving, because the moment you stop moving, you start sinking. But when you keep your focus locked on your vision and take another step, even through exhaustion and fear, momentum begins to return. You realize that progress doesn't require perfection. It only requires persistence. Remember this truth. Doubt is loudest before your biggest growth. It screams the most when you're closest to rising. That's because it's your old self fighting for survival. The part of you that fears change will always resist transformation, but you must not listen. You must remind yourself that every successful person once felt uncertain, unprepared, and afraid, but they acted anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is action in the presence of fear. Each time you act with courage, your vision strengthens its roots. You become unshakable. You begin to trust the process even when you can't see the outcome. And one day you look back and realize that doubt was never there to destroy you. It was there to define you. It was the fire that hardened your resolve, the shadow that made your light stand out brighter. When you understand that, doubt no longer stops you. It fuels you. When your vision finally starts to manifest, you realize something profound. It was never about the destination. It was about the person you became along the way. Every sleepless night, every setback, every failure, every moment you thought of quitting but didn't, shaped you into someone unbreakable. You understand now that success was not waiting for you at the end. It was growing inside you all along. The focus, discipline, faith, and endurance you built became your real wealth, because the truth is anyone can have a dream, but few can hold a vision through chaos, doubt, and time. And now you know why, because the journey demands everything. It strips away your weakness, your ego, your need for validate. Ion, until only strength and clarity remain. The moment your vision becomes reality, it doesn't feel like luck. It feels like confirmation. You realize you earned it. You became it. Ibrahim, but the end is not really the end. It's a new beginning. Achieving one vision gives birth to another, bigger one. The hunger doesn't fade, it evolves. Because once you experience the power of focus, you can never return to a scattered life. Once you see what belief and persistence can create, you start to dream even higher. You begin to understand that the same principles that carried you here, focus, faith, consistency, transformation, will carry you anywhere. You stop chasing comfort because you've learned that comfort weakens purpose. You start chasing growth, knowing that the next version of you is waiting beyond another mountain. This is what true visionaries understand. Success is not about finishing, it's about continuing. The reward for reaching one goal is not rest, it's responsibility. Responsibility to inspire others, to elevate yourself again, and to prove that greatness is a lifelong pursuit. Hebrew, so stay focused. No matter how far you've come, no matter how many victories you've earned, never lose sight of the power that got you here, your vision. Guard it, feed it, expand it, because life will still try to distract you, doubt will still whisper, and challenges will still come. But now you're different. You've learned how to endure. You've learned how to believe when no one else does. You've learned how to keep moving when everything around you stands still. That is what makes you unstoppable. You are no longer chasing your dream. You are living as proof that it can be done. And as long as you hold your vision close, as long as you refuse to settle, you will keep rising, higher, deeper, stronger. Stay focused on your vision until you achieve it. And when you do, let that achievement remind you that focus, faith, and persistence are not just traits of the successful. They are the true definition of greatness.